Yeah, my cats they will destroy legitimately anything. Like I can't even have a Roomba. I had a Roomba, like one of those things. They were
Love it.
attacking it as if it was like another
Love
animal. I was like, relax. It's trying to clean up your shit.
it. Yeah.
Hey there, Vibers. Welcome to the Vibe with Kai podcast, where we keep it real, we keep it relatable, and we keep it a little bit funny as we dive into all things mental health, ADHD, and introversion. My name is Kai. I'm your host, and each week we're going to tackle life struggles with honesty, humor, and a whole lot of heart. So, whether you're here for practical advice or a little validation or just a laugh about what life is like as an adult in today's world, listen, you are in the right place. We are not about toxic positivity here. We are all about being genuine to each other and to ourselves. And we're talking about real things. And we want to encourage each other and remind you that you are not alone. With that said, my friends, sit back, relax, and let's vibe through this together and enjoy today's episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast.
What up, friends? Welcome to the Vibe with Kai podcast. Today we have a very special episode because it's Thanksgiving week, so it's a holiday week for a lot of people here in the United States. And I did a really cool interview with my friend Chelsie Maccarone. This was last month or a couple months ago, and the whole interview was in regards to how we can survive the holiday season when uh, you're with family and you're with people, and you might not be on best terms with your family or whomever you're going to be spending that time with. And we wanted to put together a little something for you to help you survive the holiday season, because I know it is not easy in the slightest. So Chelsie Maccarone, she is a therapist that is based down in Florida. She has been a guest on my podcast for the last 2 years. She's been on so many different times, and I was so happy that she came on. And I wanted to replay that episode for you now because I want it to serve as a reminder for this Thanksgiving season. If you are somebody that celebrates, if you do plan on spending time with some close friends or family this holiday season, because it's a kind of weird, divisive time in our world right now. So it's quite it's quite possible that you might find yourself in a situation where you're like, how am I supposed to handle myself in this situation? So Chelsie Maccarone, therapist in in Florida, she has put together some really cool tips and tricks on how you can survive that. So I want to play that episode for you today. But before we get to that, here are 3 quick things. Number 1, Massachusetts. So I had the opportunity to drive through the New England area this past weekend because my sister, she graduated from Southern New Hampshire, I think it's called Southern New Hampshire University, or SNU as they call it. So my family and I, we went up to Manchester, New Hampshire to go support her and to go watch her graduate. Super excited. Now, on the way up there, obviously, I'm from Jersey and had to drive from New Jersey to New Hampshire. And on the way to New Hampshire, we stopped in a town called, I thought it was called Haverhill because it's spelled Haverhill. I thought it was called Haverhill. I made a video because I make a video on my Instagram. I put up on my Instagram all the time talking about like my hotel reviews because I travel a lot. So I do a lot of hotel reviews. So I put up a video saying, hey, I'm staying here at a hotel in Haverhill. Here's a breakdown of the hotel, blah, 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 like I normally do. Good Lord, my comment section and my DMs were filled with people from the New England area, specifically from Massachusetts, being like, why are you calling it Haverhill? It's not Haverhill. I was like, well, how the heck am I supposed to pronounce it? So they spelled it out for me, and I thought that I said it correctly, like I learned it. So apparently, I it's pronounced what I thought again was Haverhill, as in like Avril Lavigne, like Avril Lavigne. That's Haverhill, right? So I made another video. I was like, hey, sorry about that, Massachusetts. It's not pronounced Haverhill like my Jersey self said. It's pronounced Haverhill. End of story, right? Wrong. No, it's not pronounced Haverhill at all. The state of Massachusetts slid into my DMs and they're like, hi, no, that's not how you say it. It's not pronounced Haverhill. I was like, well, how the heck am I supposed to pronounce it? They said it's a long A. And I was like, oh my God, how am I supposed to? So it's Haverhill, Haverhill. I don't know. All I know is that it set me down this rabbit hole. And now Massachusetts, I realized, just has the names of these towns that it's spelled one way, but it's not how it's supposed to be said. It's legit like doing math with words when you're trying to describe where you're going or where you're at. So now it's this thing on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook where I'm just learning Massachusetts names and how to say it. So that's a thing. That's thing number one. Thing number two, and three quick things. The Wicked movie came out, and I want to see it. I haven't been able to have a chance to see it yet because I've been so busy. But I'm a big fan of Cynthia Erivo. She's the one that plays Elphaba in the movie, and I've been a big fan of Cynthia Erivo ever since I saw The Color Purple on Broadway, which is an amazing musical. She played Celie in The Color Purple on Broadway. Saw that, so good, amazing, and that's when I'm like, oh, this woman is fantastic. Ended up seeing Cynthia in a variety of film and TV, and I became like a big fan. And now she's playing Elphaba in the Wicked movie, and apparently it's really good. But here's the really funny part about this. Y'all know me. I am a huge musical theater nerd, right? You can pretty much name any musical theater show and I can probably sing something from it. Like, that's how big of a musical theater nerd I am, right? I've seen so many Broadway shows. I've directed Broadway shows. I've been acted in Broadway musicals. I've been in so many things. But you know one thing that I haven't seen on Broadway? Wicked. But my mom, who was introduced to theater because of me, she has seen Wicked. She saw the musical on Broadway. I took her to her very first musical. Her very first musical was The Lion King. I took her to that. We saw 3 shows in 2 days. Took her to see The Lion King. Then I took her to see 6. And then I took her to see MJ. Fantastic shows, right? That was her introduction to theater on Broadway, right? First time she ever seen a Broadway show. And then she ended up going with her sister, my aunt, to go see Wicked. I'm like, oh, you saw Wicked before me, and I love Wicked. I know that music like the back of my hand. Seen that show? I haven't seen that show, but I know the music. She not only has seen the Wicked show, but this weekend she's seeing the Wicked movie. And I'm like, Mom, you are becoming more Wicked literate than I am. And I don't know how I feel about that. So I need to make sure that I go see both the Wicked musical on Broadway and the Wicked movie, because my mom has seen both and I have not. And I am the musical theater snob. It's my dream to play Fiyero, by the way. That is my dream. So if you're a casting director looking for a replacement for Fiyero on tour on Broadway, hit me up, because I can hit those notes. I can sing the heck out of it. Cast me, dang it. By the way, speaking of like this is total sidebar. It's my dream. Like I film and TV. If you're a casting director, call me. I'm looking to take things up to the next level. I can make your show or your movie really good. Cast me, dang it. So that was thing number 2. Thing number 3, 3 quick things. I just wanted to say a quick happy Thanksgiving to everybody that celebrates. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of the year. I love Thanksgiving. I'm not a big fan of when they skip over Thanksgiving and just immediately start celebrating Christmas. To me, like, you're not allowed to start playing Christmas music or holiday music until after Thanksgiving. That's just my personal opinion, right? Like, Mariah Carey needs to continue thawing out up, and she can come out of her ice shell the day after Thanksgiving. But up until then, after Halloween, it's Thanksgiving season for me. Love getting together with my family. Love being able to eat and just hang out with my family. Like, that's what that holiday means to me. And I get to watch my Dallas Cowboys lose, because that's what they're doing very well this season. Even though they just won today, they beat the Washington Commanders today. But they're not going to go anywhere this season. And I'm a Dallas Cowboys fanatic, and I'm going to watch them lose on Thanksgiving. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, with that said, my friends, that was 3 quick things. And that transitions perfectly into my guest in today's episode, this week's episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast, the Vibe with Kai podcast. There you go. My good friend, Chelsie Maccarone, therapist. And today we're talking all about how you can survive the holiday season when you're hanging out with people that you might not be on the best terms with. Enjoy the episode.
What up, Vibers? It's your boy, Kai. Welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast. In today's episode, we're diving into a topic that many of us face, how to survive the holiday season when you have some difficult family members that are involved. I think everybody listening and watching right now can probably think of 1 or 2 people that that might make their holiday season a little difficult when it comes to family gatherings. And I know it can get stressful, but today, Chelsie and we have your back. Speaking of Chelsie, I'm super excited to have our guest back, Chelsie Maccarone. I think at this point you have become my most frequent guest.
Cool.
I think that's the thing.
There was a point where somebody guest appeared.
I know.
And then I'm back now.
Now I think you're just running away. You're running up the score now, So I'm proud of you. Thank you for coming back. Chelsie Maccarone is our guest today. For those of you that do not know, she is a licensed mental health counselor with over 9 years of experience, and she's known for her holistic, down-to-earth approach to therapy. What I love about Chelsie is how she makes therapy feel like a chat with a close friend. We had a little chat before, a little impromptu therapy session before we started recording today. And that it's like chatting with a close friend. I mean, she is a close friend to me, but even if you don't know her personally, it's just like that's the kind of chats that she has. She's all about balancing your life and finding your inner peace, throwing in a laugh or two when life gets a little too tough. Plus, she's a big fan of yoga. And I didn't know this. I think I read this when I was doing some additional research. You're into weightlifting. Is that true?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Really?
I know. I still do research. Even though you're a freaking guest, every time you come on, I'm like, I need to find out something new about Chelsie.
Yeah, I am. So before COVID shut the whole world down and I became a mom, I was warming up with squats at 285.
That's it? I'm kidding. Okay. That's awesome. I had no idea.
Oh yeah, I was shredded. It was great. Wow.
I had no idea. That's amazing. So the reason I bring this up is because, friends, that means that she knows how to keep both your mind and your body in check, my friends. And today we're talking about how to handle those tricky family gatherings and setting healthy boundaries and staying calm when emotions run high, especially this season where we have politics happening and stuff. Chelsea's got tons of practical tips to help you navigate the season with a little more zen and a lot less stress. So grab your favorite snack, get comfy, and let's vibe today. Welcome to the podcast, my friend Chelsie Maccarone. What's up, Chelsie?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's always a good time.
I'm so happy that you're not sick and tired of me yet.
No. Never.
Like, thank you for not being sick and tired of me.
What am I going to do? Yell at you?
Yeah, you could, and I'll just take it.
No.
Not for much longer.
Not for much longer. Sorry, inside jokers.
Jokes.
Yeah, no, I'm not sick of you. These are fun. Like I enjoy. Listen, like I don't have as big of a reach, right? And the whole reason I went into mental health counseling is so I could help people, right? And so, what better way than to help a mass amount of people than have a platform like this, which I don't have and I don't know how to build. So I'll just guest appear as much as I can and help more people every time I come.
I like it because you're helping tons of people and now you're becoming a household name in the Vibe with Kai community. So that's a good thing. Why this topic? What made you decide that you wanted to talk about this topic of family issues potentially during the holiday season? Well,
I mean, it is the middle of October, so we are starting to once Halloween hits, forget it. You got Thanksgiving, you've got
back to
back, and I'm sure there's some holidays that I'm not recognizing. I know that there is Diwali. Am I saying it right?
You're asking the wrong person.
Okay. Well, it's Hindu, I think.
Okay.
Holiday that's coming up, and then we have We have
Boxing Day. Is
Boxing
that a
Day, we
thing?
have Hanukkah, we have Black
Yeah.
Friday. Let's talk about Black
Black
Friday,
Friday,
Christmas,
Kwanzaa.
New Year's. My birthday's
Uh-huh.
in there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. And so like, and this is the around the time that people have tons of family gatherings, and it's
Oh,
especially tough because and I mentioned this in the beginning, it's also like political season now, and big
that's an
presidential
election
election coming up
year.
in
Yep.
like 15, 14 days. And
People
so,
are like losing
yeah.
family members over it. It's a
Yes,
whole thing.
yes, people are losing friendships and family members. It's a
Mhm.
little crazy. So obviously the holidays though are supposed to be a time about joy and connection, and it just doesn't seem that way sometimes, especially when dealing with family dynamics.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the holiday season intensifies these emotions and these tensions within the family?
I think part of it is a lot of like this pressure and this like pressure to perform and this pressure like I mean we see it on like the Hallmark movies like
Hmm.
the overbearing parents. So, are you married yet? Like when are you guys having kids? And like,
Yeah,
so there's
yeah.
like a lot of pressure too, especially like if you don't live near your family of origin or
Hmm.
family that you're celebrating with and it's like, pressure of well, what's your career doing? What's your romance doing? Like all this stuff. And it's like, if you haven't, or if you perceive that you haven't had a lot of growth, it could feel like, oh crap, I'm a failure. Oh crap, I don't want to face them. So there can be that kind of pressure. You can have like family members who maybe growing up, like it was an abusive home. There was
Hmm.
alcoholism, there was whatever. And it's like, now I got to see these people again. Now it's like
Hmm.
triggering. There could be, actual like abusers from childhood that like maybe
Yeah.
you haven't seen and nobody knows and you don't want to say anything. And, so there's like lots of like different like weird things. And I say weird, but like not weird, but like bring up weird
Sure.
feelings for you when it comes to the holidays and like seeing family members that you haven't seen in
Right.
a while or that you see all the time. And it's just now we're jam packed into this house and it's like,
Hmm.
we got to cook and we got to make things on time and we got to do this and da,
Hmm.
da, 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 da. And it's like hustle and bustle. A lot of people are traveling during that time. So
Hmm.
if you are traveling, now you're like dealing with that and delays because it snows in parts of this country. And like it can be just kind of really chaotic and hectic
Yeah.
and financial stress and emotional
Hmm.
stress. And it's like, it's
Hmm.
a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot coming at many different angles, right?
Mhm.
So let's start like about talking about like preparing for something like this, right? So let's
Mhm.
just say you know that you're going to a family dinner, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever it may be. You're going to a holiday dinner, and you know that there's going to be somebody there in your family that you just either don't get along with or you have a
Mhm.
history with, a negative history with. If you know this is coming up, what can you do to prepare yourself for this situation?
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful question. And we slightly touched on it already. I think like the first thing is just acknowledging that there is stress
Hmm.
instead of like, it's fine, everything's fine. No, like normalize this holiday stress.
Hmm.
Normalize that people feel overwhelmed because of family dynamics, financial pressures, feelings of loneliness. Like just normalize it, like recognize it, normalize it, and validate those emotions. So I think that that's like the first step, really. Just
Hmm.
it's okay not to feel joyful all the time during the holidays.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
you lost a parent, maybe you lost a sibling, somebody passed away. Like it's okay to not be like joy to the world. Like it's okay. And recognizing and accepting those feelings is really like the first step in managing them. So I think
Right.
first things first, acknowledge it, normalize it, validate.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Do you think people should reach out to the person beforehand, or should it just be one of those things that you just kind of acknowledge
depends.
it personally?
I think it depends,
Yeah.
right? So every family's got like a different thing. I'm trying to think of like a good example, but like sometimes, sure, yeah, you might want to be like, "Hey, mom, can you please not bring up my ex-husband at dinner because I'm bringing my
Hmm.
new boyfriend?" Like,
Right. Right. Right.
sure.
Hmm.
But like if it's not safe, if the step brother is going to be there and when you were kids, he used to lock you in the closet and molest you and nobody knows, you might not want to like out it at Christmas
Hmm.
time.
Sure. Hmm.
So I think it just depends on the dynamics and like what what you want to, I guess, focus on, which establishing healthy boundaries is a good way to, excuse me, a good way to kind of like go into this like stressful holiday time. And when I say boundaries, and I don't know if we've had this conversation before, but like when I say boundaries, sorry, I keep clicking between my notes and you, but when it comes to boundaries, there's a difference between a request and a boundary. Have we talked about this before?
No, please go on.
So I'm going to use like this as an example, and it's a pretty surface level, benign example, but like let's just say my boundary is I don't want phone calls after 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And most people would say the boundary is don't call me after 5, Kai.
Mm-hmm.
That's a boundary I set for myself. No.
I'm sorry, I called you at 5:01. Relax,
Right. But telling
Chelsie.
you to not call me after 5 is actually the request. The boundary is not answering my phone.
That see, it's like a switching of the way that you perceive it, right? Like okay, I see what you're saying.
You know?
And I think setting boundaries is like it's important because like I think people need to understand that setting a boundary, it's not you pushing people away. It's you legitimately establishing that boundary to protect yourself. And you're not pushing people away. You're protecting yourself.
Exactly. And we're not requesting anything from the other person. It's literally
Right.
just something that we're doing for ourselves. And so practicing saying no, if, I don't know, if your parents live across the country and they want you to come home for Thanksgiving or whatever the case is, and you look at flights and you're just like, I can't afford this. It's freaking me out. But you say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to be stressed out. Your boundaries have been crossed, But if you
Right.
say, no, I can't come on Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever because the prices are this high. But how about I come January 15th? The price is tanked. I can afford that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Do you, I often find that like a lot whenever I talk about family related things on my platform, one of the things that people say to me quite often is that it's harder to sometimes establish boundaries and to say no sometimes to family members because they're family, right? Because they're not, it's not like a coworker or a friend or some random stranger, right? These are people that you grew up with. So how does one navigate that? Like, I guess you feel because they're family, you're like beholden a little bit more to them. How do you navigate setting a boundary with a family member?
So I think a big part of it is recognizing the family dynamic in and of itself. Is your mom constantly requesting these high demands and you're constantly saying no and then conceding, anyway? So now you're teaching her how to treat you. You're teaching her that if she puts enough pressure and puts enough, emphasis or guilt or whatever, that you'll eventually say yes, right? So sometimes when those are the dynamics, it makes it even harder to start establishing those firmer no's. So I think a lot of the times it's recognizing what your battles are. So for example, if you don't have the money in your account and you're trying to pay off debt and you don't want to put it on your credit card, and she's, oh, just charge it, and you don't want to, and you can't afford it. I think just really getting, I guess instead of just saying no, mom, right? Telling her why no, and then offering another solution. Mom,
Right.
like I'm really trying to get out of debt. I know you want me to succeed financially. And this is just out of reach. If you have points, and you're willing to lend me your points, I will use your points. If we can come up with some other solution, if it can come a week before or a week after, or, whatever the case is, but this, I can't afford the $1,000 ticket or whatever it is, I think it's about aligning with that family member emotionally. Like, mom, I want to see you too. Like, it sucks. Like, it really does suck. And I'm sad about it too, but I've got to stay firm on this if I'm going to get to my financial goals, And so it's like really practicing that in the mirror. It's really feeling solid in your decision too, because I think sometimes it's hard to say no because you want to say yes. You want to see those family members. You want to go and do the thing. So being responsible sometimes feels harder. So it's easy to say yes and then set yourself back.
Right. So I want to jump to kind of like in the moment processing things, right? So like,
Yeah.
let's just say you are at this family dinner and like you go in expecting things to be weird, but whatever. Like it's like, okay, well, here we go. It's another Thanksgiving dinner. You know, Uncle Bob's going to be there. Uncle Bob gets drunk and yells at the TV screen, whatever. Like, you know, whatever it may be. How does one process a potential issue in the moment? Like what should a person do if while at the dinner things do start to escalate? How does one protect themselves in those types of situations?
So I think if you're talking about things escalating around you and you're kind of like a silent observer, it's okay to take like that bathroom break and give
Yeah, sure.
yourself those moments and
Yeah.
step away. If they're escalating with you, it takes two people to escalate a conversation. And so I think presence is also super, like a mindfulness is also super important, because if we're aware of like our own triggers and if we're aware of like our own responsiveness to the triggering person or the escalated person, we don't have to feed the fire. You know, we can align with them. I can see how frustrating this is for you, Uncle Joe or Uncle Bob. I don't remember the name you used, but
Uncle
um,
Joe Bob.
Uncle Joe, Bob Joe. Um, you know, I can see it's frustrating for you. I don't share the same sentiment, and that's okay. And if he continues to go, because maybe he had a couple too many drinks or whatever, and he continues to
Right.
go, say, you know what? I'm gonna go see if Aunt Cheryl needs some help in the kitchen. Do you want something while I'm in there? And
Right.
you can just,
Right.
you know, take the high road.
Right.
It's not
Like
worth.
you're not acknowledging it to a point where it's going to you're not continuing that escalation
Mm-mm.
up. You're kind of diffusing it in a way.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's
That's
really
hard.
important.
That's hard, especially when like if there's doing or saying something that is just like either very triggering or hurts your pride, or you can see them hurting people around you or your children, even whatever it may
Yeah.
be. That's hard. That's really,
It
really
takes a
difficult.
lot of emotional control.
Yeah. How do I get some of that? Can I buy that? Can I Amazon Prime that for the holiday season?
Um, no, but you can probably start practicing it now for the
Ooh,
holiday season.
how do we do that?
Um, there's little things that happen in our like daily lives that trigger us. And maybe it's not the same way as that one uncle that's sitting across from us over turkey dinner, but um, you know, there are little things. And so when those things start to happen, recognize, oh, that triggered me. How can I respond differently? You know, or in the moment, I'm feeling triggered. Let me take a few deep breaths, you know, recognize that this is a me thing and not so much a them thing. You know, the guy who cut me off in the parking lot, right? Maybe he wasn't being a jerk. Maybe I just drive a roller skate and he didn't see me, you know?
Right.
And just kind of like really starting to shift your perspective so that you're giving people grace. You know, like you're kind of like giving them I'm trying to think of like another way of saying that other than giving them grace. So just give them grace. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like falling on the sword, like, oh, maybe I messed up. Maybe I didn't notice something. Um, you know, I think working on practicing it when it's not as triggering as that family member is really helpful. Sorry, I have something in my eye.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's just driving me
I
nuts.
see you scratching your eye. I'm like, I think her eyeball might fall out. I think it might.
It's very distracting too. Sorry, guys. This is why I don't wear makeup or false eyelashes or anything like that, because I'm always like,
Oh man, do you need to wash your eye out?
no, I think it is an actual eyelash though that like fell off into my eye.
That's
Whatever. Anyway, good
that's
morning.
frustrating. You need to set a boundary with that eyelash.
Not a request. So I'll just hold my hand
Exactly.
here so that they don't fall in.
Set a boundary. That's it's always it is always tough to like kind of like fall on the sword, right? Sometimes because like a lot of times you want to like let them know how you feel. You want to let them know like, hey, you're in the wrong here, and I want to make sure you understand that.
Right. But my question to you about that
Yeah.
statement is the family dinner the place to do that?
Probably not.
Right. And
Probably not.
And that's what you have to tell
Yeah.
yourself in that moment. Now is not the
Right.
time. This
Hmm.
is not the appropriate setting. Should I
Right.
revisit
Right.
this conversation at a later date? Probably, but not right now. And like you
Right.
just kind of
Right.
like repeat these mantras to yourself. Like,
Sure.
he's obviously hurting himself because
Hmm.
hurting people hurt others. And
Right.
he's going through it. And that's why he's
Right.
saying these like jerky things.
Right. So like what so you had mentioned before, if somebody say like you're kind of like a bystander watching everything go down, that might be a good time to, go outside for a walk real quick or something real quick.
Hmm.
But at any point, should you ever play peacemaker? Like should you ever try to de-escalate a situation? It may not involve you specifically, but is there ever a time that you feel that a person should just be like, hey guys, can't we all just get along?
I think it just depends on your family dynamic. I
Yeah.
think if you are constantly the peacemaker in your family
Mm-hmm.
system, then maybe not. Let somebody else take
Mm-hmm.
that role. See how it plays
Yeah.
out. But if you normally aren't peacemaker and like let's just say mom and dad are going at it or whatever, you can
Mm-hmm.
just be like, hey guys, can we table this? Like and
Mm-hmm.
like eyeball to your kids or something like, can we not
Yeah.
do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably catch it before it escalates too if you're aware of
Yeah.
your family dynamics. And I think the only time that I would say a hard 99.9% of the time to intervene is when it has to do with your children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
I
Or
accidentally
if
muted
there
myself.
might be some sort of like physical thing that might happening happen
Correct,
maybe.
correct. I mean, but
Yeah.
like with, for example, like when it comes to like young children, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, come give Aunt Edna a hug. And the kids are like, I don't
Right.
want to, And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, just do it like that. Yes,
Right.
intervene and be your
Right.
kid's
Right.
voice. Like, no, my kids don't
Right.
have to hug people that they don't want to hug, but they are
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to be rude. So say hello to Aunt Edna. Do you want a high five? Do you want to use
Right.
words? Do you want, how do you
Right.
want to say hi?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I say 99.9% of the time, I can't even think of a 0.1% where you shouldn't, but
Mm-hmm.
always intervene. Be
Right.
your kid's voice. Don't let
Right.
that weird uncle, weird aunt kiss them on the mouth
Mm-hmm.
when they don't want it.
Right.
Like if they're uncomfortable, like
Mm-hmm.
intervene 100% of
Right. Right. Is so let's just say obviously the dinner table may not be the time and the place to have the conversation. Um, when is the right time, right? So like let's just say, you're like, hey, can we table this for right now? And whatever. And you let's just say maybe sometime later that day or that evening, you pull them to the side or whatever. How does one approach that part of it? Like how do you express either what's bothering you or what went
it. Yeah.
wrong, whatever it may be, in a healthy, productive way?
Like, hey, cousin Kai, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I appreciate you starting that political conversation at the dinner table. Like, I can understand your views and I value your views, but I just think when you start name calling and criticizing, it really hurts me because it feels like an attack on me because we don't align politically.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to like we're cousins, like we love each other, and I love our friendship, and I love all the things in that we've grown up with. I just hate when you attack me, and I don't know how we
Mm-hmm.
can have this conversation without an attack. Um, you know, so you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of like validating their feelings, bringing it back
Right.
up, but then also
Right.
like, this is how I'm feeling, and how do we have a solution? Like,
Right.
people
Right.
aligning with them.
Right. When is the line crossed though? Like when is it like a point where it's like, you know what, I'm going to not try to talk to you about this. I have to either remove myself from the situation or just avoid you at all costs. Is there a line that like that's like okay?
Yeah, I think when you have someone who's irrational,
Hmm.
who doesn't care, like if I said that to you, cousin Kai, and cousin Kai
Hmm.
goes, well, fuck off, who cares,
Right.
snowflake. If they just completely blow off your feelings, then you can just
Hmm.
say, okay, they don't have compassion either right now or in
Hmm.
this stage or for this topic, but right now, like they're not able to, sorry, my cat, they're not able to have this conversation
Did
right
your
now.
cat? It looked like your cat like legit like took a chunk of skin out of you. Like that's what the
She
reaction looked like.
she clawed me and then got stuck on my leggings and like
Oh,
kept
I hate that.
like trying, and I was like, she's gonna rip a hole,
Yeah.
she's gonna rip a hole. And yeah, your cats have not made their appearance or their debut yet, but mine.
They have not. They're actually behaving themselves right now, and I don't know. I don't know why. This is really odd. One's either usually posted up right there whenever I go live or whenever I'm talking to somebody. They post up right there, but it looks like they're just chilling on their tree. They're both dead asleep right now.
That's so cute.
Yay. I know, they're adorable, but they're monsters sometimes. But I love them. They're my monsters.
Yeah, mine are elderly, so the monster era is kind of going out.
Yeah.
Because of all the rain we've been having, some of the insects have been coming inside for shelter. And my cats are like, it's there. I can see it. Or like, it's right in front of me. It's here, but I'm not going to kill it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to look at it. And I'm like, but your cats, like, go get it. Like, what are you doing?
Do what you do
Don't
best.
Just at it. Like, get it.
Yeah, my cats, they will destroy legitimately anything. Like, I can't even have a Roomba. I had a Roomba, like one of those things. They were attacking it. Attacking it as if it was like another animal. I was like, relax. It's trying to clean up your shit.
Yeah. So here in sunny South Florida, we have really big lizards.
Yes, you do.
Like really big lizards. And my cats are indoor cats, but their litter box is in the garage. So sometimes lizards get in the garage. Well, my senior 15-year-old cat comes running up the stairs with a fucking dinosaur in its mouth. And he is so proud of himself. It's hanging out of his mouth. And he's like, look what I got, motherfuckers. Like, sorry, I'm cursing a lot today.
Oh my gosh. Wait, was it alive?
It was alive. It was this big, we call them rainbow lizards. I don't know the real, like maybe your viewers know. They're like iridescent blue, green, gorgeous lizards. They kind of like move like a skink, but they're lizards. Anyway, it's like this big, the body, not the tail. The body is this big, then the tail. Coming up, and he lets it go. And now we have this dinosaur right in the house. The cat's running after it, and it's chaos.
Oh,
and it's injured.
Gosh.
So now it's like a bloody trail.
No.
So they won't mess with the insects, but the lizards, they're so.
Your cat was so proud. Your cat was like, I got dinner.
Yes. Look.
Right. Wow.
Get it.
And so I take it that you've caught it since then.
Oh no, my husband got it. I didn't get it.
I don't trust anything low to the ground. Like I'll deal with cats and some dogs, but like anything that's like very close to the ground, I don't mess with.
Oh, I used to have those kinds of pets. Like I had reptiles, like they don't bother me, but wild reptiles, those I'm like, you're gonna bite me and it's gonna hurt. I don't want.
No, I'll pass.
No.
I'll pass.
Like my bearded dragon was cool as shit. He was cool. But
Is he not here anymore?
No, he passed away. I had him for like 12 years.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was like a long time ago. He was like buried in the yard of my old place. Like that's how long ago he.
Did you set a boundary with your cats? You need to have a talk with your cats, setting boundaries.
Well, then that would be a request.
That's true.
The boundary would be for me to just shut the door.
That's true.
Instead of don't come in here while I'm working, I just need to shut the door. But I didn't, and so now she's laying here at my feet, licking herself.
Your fault. Got
it is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
It is. We teach people how to treat us and animals. So it's our fault because it's our lack of boundaries. So if our boss is like constantly berating us and yelling at us and we continue to allow it, we're teaching him that that's an okay boundary to cross.
You're absolutely right. I always love when you're here dishing out some knowledge. What other pieces of advice do you have for those of us heading into the holiday season when it comes to those difficult?
I made a whole list.
Bust it out.
So setting realistic expectations. This was a big one, is like avoiding perfectionism, embracing imperfection. Because the holidays really come with like unrealistic expectations about how everything should be, especially like these Pinterest days. The table needs to look like this. The decorations should be like this. And there's a lot of like pressure there to like perform and look Pinterest perfect and whatnot. And so I think just avoid the perfectionism, just like embrace the imperfect things. Really just focusing on creating meaningful moments rather than perfect gifts, perfect meals, perfect events, but like just having those like good, meaningful interactions and moments and mindful times, really. We talked about the healthy boundaries, limiting toxic interactions. So just like gracefully handling difficult family dynamics, like we said, excusing yourself from a heated conversation, setting limits on time spent with toxic people. So we didn't talk about this one, but like if that toxic person is going to be at the dinner and you don't want to out it, then maybe just, say, okay, we're going to go to my family's dinner for the dinner or just the dessert or whatever. And we'll go to my partner or my friend or my neighbors for the rest of it. And so you can kind of limit the time so you're not exposed to it for so long.
Right. That's another good example of setting a boundary.
Yeah. Self-care during the holidays. That was, I know we've talked a lot about self-care, but like really just making time for scheduling downtime for rest, exercise, relaxation, even amidst holiday plans. Like, so for example, if you're flying out or whatever, and you normally have like a workout routine or whatever, just go for a jog, go for a run if the weather permits, before you start in all the festivities. Really maybe instead of like going out to the family kitchen for breakfast immediately when you wake up, read your book in the morning before you head out, just make sure you're really having some time for you. We talked about the financial boundaries and sticking to a budget.
We're all rich, so we don't need to do that, obviously.
Even rich people need to budget. Let me tell you, if you make $1 million a year and you spend $1 million in one, you are still broke, my friends.
Factual information.
Yeah. So I'm not a financial advisor at all, but living below your means will really help you with, finances. But so financial stress is really common during the holidays. So talking about setting a realistic budget for gifts, travel, activities. Ideally, when talking about this kind of budgeting, I say budget at the beginning of the year for the end of the year holidays, so that it's not a surprise, so that you're not like, oh crap, like I don't have the money, but like really budgeting for it. Also putting emphasis on non-material gifts, right? Highlighting the value of thoughtful, low-cost alternatives, handmade gifts, experiences, things like that. I forgot what we were talking about as far as what I'm answering, but my notes, it goes on to say...
You're just dropping some final pieces of knowledge for
me. So some of my notes, talking about combating loneliness, right? Reaching out for connection. I think sometimes maybe the holidays, it's lonelier because you don't have those family dinners anymore, because your family's either out of the country or no longer with us or whatever the case is. So really connecting with friends, joining holiday events, volunteering. I know 1 year when I was in college, like I did like a turkey, like you handed out turkey to like needy families or whatever. And if I tell you like how warm that it made my heart feel. So maybe volunteering, just being around, people, who need help, or being around friends. And if you don't have that family, so that can help reduce the feelings of isolation. Creating new traditions. Sometimes we need to let go of old traditions. Families change. It's okay to create new holiday traditions that better suit your current lifestyle. Maybe religions change. I know sometimes religious beliefs do morph. So letting go of some of those old traditions, personalizing the holidays. Maybe it's cooking a new meal, creating a new ritual, spending some time alone in a meaningful way. Maybe it is making it a habit every Christmas morning to go to the cemetery. I don't know, just kind of finding something more personal for the holidays. I think we kind of talked about this, like gratitude and reflection. Really just taking a time to reflect on what you're grateful for can shift your mindset away from the stress and more towards the positivity.
Absolutely, for sure.
And then I think, just having a gratitude practice, whether it's journaling, whether it's sharing daily gratitudes with loved ones, using gratitude prompts. So we just had Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is like repentance, and so that actually turned into like a new tradition for me, because now it's like, yes, I like made my apologies and I repented and all that stuff, but now I started texting the people in my life every once in a while what I'm grateful for from them. I'm so grateful I have you as a friend because of blah 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 blah. I'm so grateful for my mom and I had some time together. We were going to the opera. I'm so grateful we had that time last season, the opera. Like, I can't wait to create a new tradition this year. Like, whatever, just like little gratitude things sprinkled. And that can really help as well. And I have two more. So seeking support, reaching out for help, for those feeling overwhelmed, just seeking out support from friends, family, and if needed, a mental health professional. If it's crisis, know about your crisis hotlines. If you're really struggling, if last year was like, it was crisis, have those resources on hand in case it does get to that point. And then we talked about enjoying the moment. So, having that presence over perfection. So I guess I only have the one more.
That's awesome. You just dropped a bunch of little nuggets there for people.
I did my homework this time. I didn't forget the topic.
Always do your homework. Get out of here.
When I forget the topic.
There was one time you didn't do it. You've been a guest on my show for like 4 years, and you've only did your homework once. But even then, you still had the knowledge to just go. If I didn't acknowledge, or if you didn't acknowledge that you didn't know what the topic was,
you wouldn't have known.
We would have never known. And you still came in and you're ready to go.
Yeah. I know sometimes I talk really fast, but it's because I have so much information to give and I'm kind of passionate and excited about it. And I have seen some of the feedback from some of your viewers that I talk too fast.
You're talking to a Northeasterner, so like...
Yeah, but your listeners aren't always... Anyway, so I just wanted to apologize to them, but they can maybe slow it.
Apologize.
All right.
Be fine. They can watch it like at a
slow mo.
We can talk more about trauma.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the knowledge that you always bring. I guess I'll have you back at some point in the future. I guess so.
Yes.
No, I always appreciate you, and for anybody that's listening or watching right now, are you able to help people in both Florida and New Hampshire? Is that how it works?
So I have a therapist that is on my team that is licensed in New Hampshire. So I have a group practice. It's not just me. It's me and 3 other therapists. But yeah, and then I know we talked about it, but I'm hoping in 2025 I can drop my coaching platform. And the reason that I'm saying coaching is because the licensing only allows me in Florida. So if I'm coaching and not doing therapy, I can do it nationwide. And so I'm trying to get that together to hopefully drop in 2025.
Well, fingers crossed. I hope that happens. And in the meantime, if you're in Florida or if you're in the Hampshires, you can go visit Healthy Minds and More online. I'll include all of the information within the description of this podcast. That way, you can just go check it out, click, and become a client, because you're going to get more great information like this with my friend Chelsie Maccarone. And that's Chelsie with an IE, not an EA.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that that's correct. What's funny is because I talk to you more than like any other Chelsie in my life. And they all spell their name EA. But like, I'm at a point now, I talk to you so much that I think that they're spelling it weird now.
I'm not spelling it weird. My mom spelled it weird. I did nothing to my name. I just born into it. Like, here you are.
That's so funny. I saw somebody online, their name was Daphne, not Daphne. Daphne. Because why not?
Parents, do better.
It's a pretty name, I guess.
It is,
don't know.
but we don't need to confuse
Sure.
our children.
There's already much confusion going
Like,
around about.
she's gonna have to learn how to spell that name while she's
Yes.
trying to learn how to read the English language. That is confusing AF.
That's true. That's true. You're not incorrect.
Yeah.
So
Can
shout
I
out to you,
plug?
Daphne. Can you plug?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't know how many viewers you have in South Florida, but in January we are having a wellness event. The date is to be determined, but we will have a personal trainer, a massage therapist, a nail tech. We're going to be
It's an
doing
in-person thing.
it is an in-person thing,
Ooh, can I
a
come?
wellness event. You can, absolutely you can. We're doing a wellness event. I'm going to be doing talks about parenting and like struggles with parenting and like things postpartum. And you'll get some like really good merch, I think, too. So we're putting it together. We're going to
Ooh,
be struggling to put it together in the next 3 months. So
that's awesome. Well, yeah, once you have all of the details, let me know.
we will.
And not only will I put it out to all of my South Florida vibers, but I want to try to come myself. I want to attend and be a part of your event.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. And then we finally get to meet in person.
If we don't meet in December.
If we don't meet in December, that's very true. That's very true. But you said you don't want to come to Miami.
I'll come to Miami for you, Kai.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. I knew we were friends. Thank you, Daphne.
You're welcome, Kyra.
Love it. Friends, all of Chelsea's information is going to be in the description of this podcast. Go check her out. Go check out her practice, learn a little bit more. And in the meantime, when it comes to the family gatherings this year, just take a moment, take a breath, go in, set a boundary for yourself and to protect yourself. And
hide in the closet, call your therapist.
Hide in the closet, go hide in your car. I hide in the car all the time. Whatever you need to do to protect your well-being, because that's what's most important. So with that said, thank you, Chelsie, for hanging out with us today. Everybody else, much love, good vibes, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found a little bit of comfort in today's episode, and I hope that you're walking away with a little bit of encouragement, and I hope that you laughed a little bit along the way. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like it and subscribe and leave a review. Let me know what you thought of the episode. I really want to hear your voice. I want to hear your story. I want to hear all about your journey. Let's keep the conversation going. Make sure you follow me on all of your favorite social media platforms. Follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, at The Vibe with Kai for more tips, more laughs, and more real talk. Remember, my friends, you are not alone on this journey. We are in this together. And until next time, stay kind to yourself, embrace the journey, and keep vibing. I'll catch you next time. Much love. Good vibes.